Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I want to talk about Doctor Who once again, touching upon that great topic of great companions that never were in the history of Doctor Who. And this time out, I want to talk about the character of Alice O'Donnell from the Series 9 two-parter Under the Lake and Before the Flood, respectively. Just absolutely fell in love with this character from right off the bat, as portrayed by Morgan Christie, this sort of Doctor Who fangirl for all intents and purposes. I mean, even that much more than Osgood, who is much more subtle, just sort of wearing and cosplaying the Doctor's outfits and things like that. This character was bouncing off the walls when she realized who the Doctor was and was familiar with, like Rose and Martha and Donna and all that kind of stuff. And I just think that would have been a heavily interesting dynamic. Here is this character who, for all intents and purposes, is the audience. Doctor Who is real for her. These aliens are real, these invasions are real, the threats and everything like that, the ghosts that were in play in that particular two-parter, and the Doctor is here to set things right and figure things out. Unfortunately for that character, the story was rather tragic. She didn't survive, spoiler warning, that two-parter, and I was really kind of crushed as a result of that, because I just found her character to be an absolute delight. All of her familiarity, the way she's jumping up and down in excitement after having traveled in the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside, bigger on the inside, It was just this level of rejuvenation and excitement, like this is how we would be reacting if we, the viewer, were suddenly transported through time and space and found the Doctor to be real, the TARDIS to be real. It was just an exciting factor that I thought, maybe it would have sort of outstayed its welcome after a little while, but you don't, keep revolving around that aspect of things. After the first sort of adventure going to an alien planet, then you ground the character. And here was a character who had a background in being the technician on this underwater base. She had some military sort of training and everything like that. So we know that she's good in a crunch. She's good with weapons if need be and everything like that. She has a level of ingenuity in the fact that she manipulates the systems on this underground base, which are being, sort of also manipulated by the air quotes ghosts. And for her to figure that out and to, reconfigure the computers, we know she has ingenuity. We know she has these skills that can be put to work. But another aspect of her character that I really like is, in spite of this military training, she's not one to strictly follow the rules. She has sort of a grander design on how things might work out better for the adventure or misadventure. Let's say she's on an adventure with the Doctor through time and space on this alien world or a space station, what have you, that, there's a disease breaking loose and everything like that. She can be adaptable toward trying to, jury-rig the computers, and she wouldn't be just, in the background while the Doctor's doing all the work. And I think that would have been very intriguing, especially if you add into that dynamic, because she's such the Doctor fangirl. Maybe it's a case of meeting your hero and finding the hero that you've been so idolizing, so much idol worship toward, is not exactly that grand, heroic being that you thought they were. And it would be quite interesting to have delved into that aspect of, here the Doctor's not this pitch perfect savior. He does make wrong choices every now and then. He does make mistakes, and maybe he has an equation where, a couple lives have to be lost for the greater good. And maybe that's something that hits home with this girl who has a military background. Maybe she lost somebody in her past that would be revealed as the story moves forward, and it touches a nerve, and she's suddenly seeing the Doctor in a different light, and the sort of, gravity of that situation and the drama that could be born out of that kind of situation would be very interesting to explore. Here is somebody who thought the Doctor was the end-all be-all, and now she's seeing he's just sort of the fallible being that he sometimes is. He's not always going to be able to save the day without consequences and all these kinds of things. And maybe he even makes a choice that doesn't sit well with her for whatever reason, her own, specific set of morals or whatever those, might be. From the outset, she sees sort of things from the outside, but then she's brought into the TARDIS. She's brought into the travels through time and space, and she sees it on a very personal level that suddenly, it's like something other than what she thought it was. And that awakening that, sort of, there wouldn't be a sense of romance because we've already been there, done that with, of course, Rose. She was very much in love with the Doctor. The Doctor seemed to feel the same way. as controversial as that may be. And then you had Martha, who was the unrequited love. Then you had Donna, who was like, you know? And this could have been quite an interesting thing where it was like, we're pals and I'm traveling around with my favorite person in the universe. But then maybe that favorite person in the universe is a little bit lacking when I'm finally spending time with them and not just hearing the stories of those adventures, you know, or reading through unit files or whatever it is. And I think that could have been quite compelling. A compelling turn for a companion. I like the idea. It's another sort of note I've revisited in talking about these different companions who never were in the history of Doctor Who. Aspects that would have made their story and journeys and adventures, misadventures with the Doctor that much more intriguing, you know, to sort of differentiate from things we've already seen before. And at least for me, if I were writing that particular character, I would have it start off exactly how we met the character. She is a fangirl for the Doctor. She's a Doctor Who fangirl incarnate within the series, but then the crushing blow of reality of things not being so fantastical every step of the way would then start to maybe turn that fangirlish nature and have this character grow up and evolve and start to have a new perspective, a clearer perspective and understanding on her surroundings and the Doctor and time and space and all these different things. And whether her story would play out tragic as it did in that two-parter would remain to be seen. Maybe she would decide to break things off with the Doctor and leave sort of angrily. I think that would be something that would be quite phenomenal. Have a companion who decides to gung-ho leave the Doctor because this is not what I thought it was going to be, and I hate you, and you're not what I thought you were, and all these things, and I don't, you know, whatever sort of drama that could erupt out of a story, a given story, misadventure, that kind of thing, to lead to that equation, I think would be quite compelling, because it's something we've not really seen before. I mean, if you go back to the classic series, you had the character of Tegan who just had enough and just kind of wanted to leave, and she maybe sort of regretted it in that final shot in that one story, the story that she does leave in. She's kind of looking longingly back at the TARDIS, but she made the conscious decision to leave. And I think that would be something quite compelling, especially in the modern series, to have a companion who fell out of love with the Doctor, especially if she goes into the equation being a Doctor Who fangirl. That could have been quite compelling indeed. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you agree with me on this particular character, Alice O'Donnell. You know, if you thought she would have made a compelling companion, and if they explored the story along that line throughout the course of a whole season, you know, whatever it is, a whole series, do you think that would have been quite compelling storytelling, or could you have taken or left it? Maybe not the best choice for you. Anything goes in the comments below. Love having that conversation. Otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.